Welcome to the Personal Development Mastery Podcast. Stand out, don't fit in. This is the second half of the interview with Halstead Ottley. Tune in to the previous episode 29 to listen to the first part of it. Halstead, there was one other thing I wanted to ask about finances. Actually, two things. One was the concept. You mentioned Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is if there is one book that has been mentioned the most times in these podcast interviews that I do, it is this book. I've heard of people dropping out of university as soon as they read it and things like that. So it is an important book. I wanted your thoughts on the concept of financial freedom. So just generally, because we've been talking about this now, do you think, first of all, I want your definition of what that is. And second, I want you to tell me if you believe that it is feasible for most people, or for people who are really interested in attaining it.
Yeah, so financial freedom. I think financial freedom is when you get to a point where you've got a certain lifestyle and you can maintain it without working. Mm-hmm. So the money's coming in. Mm-hmm. That to me is financial freedom. It doesn't matter what happens in the economy. It doesn't matter who's in government, that you're being able to still be able to have the financial freedom. So that's for me is what financial freedom is.
Do you think it is achievable? Or, well, obviously it is for a very few people, but do you think that more people could achieve it? Or what's the missing ingredient in doing that?
I honestly believe that everybody can achieve it. Mm-hmm. I think that what you have to do is to work out what you want your life to be like, mm-hmm. what it is that you need, and then put a figure on it, mm-hmm. and then work towards that figure. So how much you need to come in every month, how much you need in the bank, whatever it is for you that you feel that's secure and that financial freedom. But I honestly believe that it's there for everybody. So in 1994, when I left the co-op, and as I told you that it's because they were working on a Sunday, and that would have meant that I would then be working 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m, even though I had a night manager and there was someone who's going to do Sundays. I could already see that, you know, we didn't even open on a Sunday, but I was already working 6 days. If my night supervisors phoned up and said, look, my little boy's ill, he won't stay with his dad, I then would have to work till 10. So I could already see, you know, that's why I left. But in 1994, when I had a look at my property portfolio and the other stuff that I was doing, I had more money coming in mm-hmm. than I was earning in my job. Mm. And so that allowed me then to be able to say, okay, I can leave the co-op, even though I didn't really want to, because I really enjoyed the job. Was I at the financial freedom stage? No, I was probably at that financial secure type stage. Mm-hmm. And then I had to go on. So then I sat down and worked out, what is it that I want? How many holidays do I want a year? What car do I want? Where do I want to live? What charities and things do I want to support? You know, who do I want to be able to help? What do I want to leave for my children? Do I want to give them a good start in life? Do I want children? Do I want to get married? I sat down and worked all of that out and then put a figure on that. I had another thing by Robert Kiyosaki was Choose to Be Rich. And that really helped me to work all of that out. And so I was able to leave my job with the co-op through my property investing, and I didn't even know what I was really doing. So somehow by fluke or luck, I've sat there with a property portfolio that had gone up over time. All I did was buy them, rent them out, and everything else took care of itself. And I still see that property is that way. It's a real good leveler for everybody. You don't need many properties. There are some people who have got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 houses to be, depending on what your figure is, you don't need many. You don't need many of them. You just need to buy property and wait, as opposed to don't wait to buy property. I'd like to claim that as my own, but it's not. It's Mark Homer's. That's what he says. Yeah, buy property and wait. So that's a good time. So I honestly believe it's achievable for everybody. Now, it might not be property. There are loads of other things out there, and as long as you find something that you enjoy doing, then I think that you can find a way to build a business around it. Be able to solve a problem somehow. I told you that I'm a Pilates instructor, and normally I would go out and so this isn't passive, but it's just something else that I do. But I was thinking, when I get to the point where my children are flown the nest, and me and Carol now have got all the time to ourselves, one of our goals is to be able to spend some time abroad and spend some time here. Because of what's happened here, I can teach online. So I can be in Portugal teaching Pilates or whatever fitness class that I want to do. If I want to, I have that choice. And so you can find a problem and solve it, and you'll get paid for it. So it doesn't have to be property. It can be almost anything that you're passionate about. Find what the problem is, find out what that problem is, and then solve it for the masses, and you'll be able to create that extra income.
That's great. And this I think is very important what you said, that to do something that you enjoy doing and that you're passionate about. And there was a question that I wanted to ask you, because you have been involved in education about property investing for a long time now. So my question was, why, in your opinion, there are so many people who go and do property training, many educational courses, and many times they spend thousands of pounds on training, and in the end, they don't really do it, they don't become property investors, or they don't achieve success in that. Do you think it is because they might not be passionate about it, or do you think there is some other missing ingredient, that something else that is lacking? Because I'm sure you know very well that people who attend property courses, they tend to get out of it very enthusiastic and excited that yes, I can do it, I've learned it. There is this kind of feeling of excitement, but then over time, I'm sure, and you can tell me based on your experience, what kind of percentage have you seen actually doing it versus not doing it? So do you think it's a matter of, just rephrase my question to make it a little bit more concise, do you think there is something missing there on the education, or could it also be that people, as much as they enjoy the idea of getting wealthy or financially free through property, they don't have the passion, they don't really like doing it?
I think, Aggie, and that's a great question there. It's the self-doubt. We talked about the self-doubt. So people go off and they'll do all the property education, and they then now have got to do the work. And then they think, right, I've got to go and speak to agents. I've got to find the money. I've got to have a team that can come and do the refurbs for me. And depending on what type of strategy it is that you're doing, it might be that you've got to speak direct to the vendor because you're you're trying to do an assisted sale or a lease option of some sort, and you're thinking, well, I know the theory of it, and now I've got to go out there and put it into practice, and I've never done it before. Why should anybody listen to me? Because I've not done it before, and that's that self-doubt. And the only way that you're going to get over that is the action kills fear. Is to do that. I think the other thing is that people don't come up with, now, anyone that I mentor or work with, the first thing I get them to do is to come up with, why do you want to do it? You need to know the reasons why. And if you haven't got a big enough why, then it isn't going to happen. Because as soon as you've gone into to see the estate agent and you've gone and viewed 10 properties and you've put your offers in on 2 of them and both of them have been declined, what's going to make you go out and view another 10? Because you've already been telling yourself, I don't think I can do it, I don't think I can do it, I don't think I can do it. And someone said, yeah, of course you can, go on out there, go on through these properties, put the offers in and buy a house. And you put the offers in and it's been rejected and you go, I knew I can do it. I don't know what he's talking about. He says I could, but no, I couldn't do it. And here's the proof. I put these offers in and it's been refused. You've got to know, but why is it that you're doing it? And so I always have a look at my why when I'm having my bad days, when things are not going right. It still happens today. They don't all go my way. I'm having my bad days, but I know why I'm doing it. And that's the first thing I get everybody to do. Now, that's the most difficult thing for everyone to do. Because when they come back and I say, right, share with me why you want to do it. I know that it's a weak why. It's not strong enough. They've written something down. And the thing is that it won't be the first draft. You've got to keep doing it because as we get older, we find it hard to ask for things for ourselves. We can ask for our children. We can ask for our family. We can do loads of things for everybody else, but not for ourselves. So when you're sitting there and saying to someone, so what do you want? Here's a pen, write for 2 minutes, and I've written 3 things, can't think of anything else to write. Yeah, I know that this is going to be the hardest thing, but all they've got to do is just to persevere and do draft 1, do draft 2, do draft 3. And then eventually you'll find out what it is. What is it that's going to make you do that? And that's what you need to do, is coming up with that why, I think. And that's why most people don't go on and succeed, because they get that feeling there's nothing for them to keep going. They haven't got a reason to do it. The other thing, Aggie, is that I've seen is I joined the VIP program with Progressive, and there were some really good people in my group, in my master.
That's a mastermind group, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
for
right.
people who don't know what that is. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. And what happens is that you turn up at your first session, and you have to decide what it is you want. You have a mentor, 20 minutes, and then you get to network with everybody, and it's a great mastermind and thing. And you go to Peterborough and you get pumped up for that day, and then you go back to your own patch to work it. And so I joined the VIP program, and a bit like when I was trying to become an aerobics instructor, I sat with my mentor and said, okay, I want to be able to, this is what I want to achieve. How can I do it? What have I got to do? And he set me the tasks to do. And I made sure that every month I came back and I had done what I'd been asked to do. It wasn't easy to do it. But there were people who were in my group who thought that Rob and Mark were going to come to their patch and see the agents for them and put the offers in and that sort of thing. No, they tell you what you've got to do. You have to go off and do it. And they said, well, this isn't what I thought I was going to get, and then they quit. But if it's to be, It's up to me, and so this is what I've got to do. I've gone to see Rob and Mark because you've got success. I like what you've done. How have you done it? This is how we've done it. We've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I then go off and do the same. When people say to me, Halstead, how have you done it? I say, I've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They said, that's great. Is there another way? There might well be, but you're asking me what my way is, and this is what my way is. And success leaves clues. If you do these, you will have the success. Will you get it? The time frame is the only thing that's in doubt. For some people, it's like that. And other people, it takes longer. But you never know when you're about to have the success. So you mustn't quit. You've got to keep going because you will have success. You can't help but not. If you keep doing the right things, you will get the results.
Talking about success, what does success mean to you?
Oh, that's a good question. What does success mean to me? I think that it's, as I said, you need to know. It's about having that strong why and knowing what it is, so you know where you're going. And success to me is knowing that you are steadily making steps towards your end goal. That's what I think success is.
Progress. Yeah.
So whether you win or learn, that's success. I mean, there's different things that, skills that you need for success. You've got to have a belief, I believe, that anything is possible, because as we go through trying to achieve whatever our goals are, there are going to be things that we've never done before. And that's why you have to have faith to believe that it is possible. You must have that faith that it is possible. You need to be able to motivate yourself. So, as you know, I'm a karate instructor. And one of my instructors said that the difference between a black belt and a Q grade, so that's everybody below black belt, the difference between a black belt and a Q grade is that a black belt knows how to motivate himself. So, you can go out and you do the training and you come up, like I did lots of competitions, karate competitions and things. And I didn't win them all. I won more than I lost, but I'm very competitive. So even though sometimes I wasn't showing it, if I've not won a tournament, on the inside, So, but it just makes me go train harder. So if I'm in the dojo and there's someone in the class who can beat me, and I've had a spar with them, and I just think, how is that? Why are they beating me? Rather than avoid fighting them, while I'm fighting with someone else, I'm watching them to see what is it that they're doing. And then I say, right, can we spar again? And they might beat me again. And I think, right, okay, so I'm sparring with someone else and I'm trying to watch and I say, right, can we spar again? And I want to keep going until I can say, right, I've got it. I know what you're doing now. Yeah. It's about just, you got to keep going. I believe that anything's possible, so there's some of the skills I think that you need for success.
Thank you. And you talking about the skills for success, I know you wrote a chapter in a book called Advice to Your Younger Self.
Yes.
And I think the ingredients needed to achieve success, or what we perceive them to be when we reach a certain age, are the things that we would love to be able to share to our younger self. So I will ask you the question then. So if you could meet your 20-year-old self and you had to choose the most important piece of advice to give him, what would that be?
The most important bit. I think that is, that belief that anything's possible. Anything's possible. Whatever it is that I really, really firmly believe, Aggie, that whatever the problem that you're having, there's a solution. I honestly believe that. There is definitely a solution to it. And my thing is always to sit and then think, right, what is the solution to that problem? I think that people don't think enough. They don't take that time out to just try and work out what it is. Some people they're quite happy with the woe is me. Stephen Covey puts it great, oh gosh, that happened to me. Yeah, you listen to what happened to me. That's nothing, and they just really want to, I can't get involved with all that. It's, if it's going wrong, I just need to sit. There is definitely a solution. I had a game, when I was, at school. I don't know, I was about 10, 11 years old, maybe slightly older, a computer game. And I can't remember what it was called, but it was sort of like an icicle type game. And what happened was you had this character that had to go in and collect all these different presents. But you had to be careful because there were snowballs and avalanches that could kill you, sort of thing. And there was something like 12 levels, I think, something like that, 10 or 12 levels. And me and my sister would play this. And we got to one level and we just could not do that level. We got to the last present. And what you needed to be able to do was to get that present to get out. But every time you did, the snowballs would get you.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we played that and played that and played that and played that and couldn't get it. Anyway, I went to bed this particular night and dreamt about this game. And there was the solution. And I woke up the next day and I said to my sister, we need to play the game. We need to play the game. I think I know how to do it. I know how to do it. I got it. I can see it. I know how to do it. And we put the game on and sure enough, that was the solution to it. And that was my realization that it doesn't matter what it is, it looks impossible, but there's definitely a solution. And you just need to just sit and reflect and think about how can I solve that?
Yeah, no, that's great. I can relate to what you're saying with that. Yes, I would dare to use the phrase to obsess on the solution until it appears itself, either consciously through your thoughts or subconsciously through a dream or during a meditation or at some other form from
definitely.
The infinite intelligence. That's Napoleon Hill calls it. And talking about that, I wanted your thoughts on mastermind groups. I mean, my question is, what's your thoughts about them? How important you think they are? And have they influenced your life? Have they helped you towards becoming who you are today?
God, massively. Yeah, I am. When I got invited to join my very first mastermind group through Progressive, we went across to the Cayman Islands to do it. Now, I didn't know what a mastermind group was, Aggie.
How long ago was that, Halstead?
Cool. That I 7 years ago, I think.
Okay, all right.
I think I've been on every one bar one of the Cayman Legacy ones, and we didn't have one this year. I think there was about 7 or 8. I think.
So about 7, 8 years ago, you didn't know what a mastermind group was.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't know what a mastermind group was, or maybe I thought I did, but no, I didn't know what one was. And so we've all arrived. And I thought it was just going to be a group of us there, and we would go off one at a time with the mentors to discuss our businesses, come away with a plan of how we're going to implement what it is we've agreed on. And we get to the first day, and the first delegate goes, and we're all sitting in the group, and they're sharing their business with everybody in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at a couple of others that we've talked about. We're looking toward to the ones we're thinking, isn't right? You know, he's telling us all about his business and whatever, and we're all sitting here. This is what we've paid for, whatever, you know. And so in the breaks, you can imagine the talking that was going on, because I wasn't the only one who had thought that.
Mm-hmm.
But my word, how powerful that was. We talked about self-doubt and the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
You quickly got to see that there was only about 5 or 6 questions, and we just all asked the same 5 or 6 questions in a different way. Everybody who might have different businesses, they weren't all property people, they weren't all property, had the same challenges. We all had the same challenges in our business. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough resources, whatever it was. We all had them in one form or another. And by sitting and listening to everybody helped you with your own business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of the last people to go, that when it came to me to have my session, a lot of my questions had already been answered. And I'd come away, I'd changed my business plan with what I'd already heard. You get to hear what other people think is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, if they can have it, I can have that. You know, so I've come for £100 extra a month, but they want £10,000 extra a week. I reckon I could have 12, you know, and it really, because you're around those sorts of people and you go out for dinner with them, you go on different trips with them, and you just get into that mindset and problem solving. There were some massive, massive problems that we all came with, and there wasn't one single problem that the group in the whole 7 years that I've been going couldn't solve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes when you're on your own, what was it? I'm trying to think who said it, which was that the thinking that has got me this far is not going to be the thinking to take me further.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got me to this point. I need a different sort of thinking here. And that's what the mastermind group brought. I highly recommend it. I'm in about 3 or 4 different mastermind groups,
Mm-hmm.
because it is just so powerful. The other thing that mastermind groups do for you is that as you start to achieve some success, it's easy to sit back and go, made it.
Mm.
Yeah. But the thing about being in a mastermind group is that everyone says, so what have you been up to this month? Well, actually, I've been doing nothing. No, you can't. You don't want to say that because everyone else is doing stuff. So
Yes.
you want to do stuff, and it makes you do things. And they come up with things where someone has said, oh, you can't do this. And I said, I've been doing it for years. Have you? Mm-hmm. So mastermind groups, you know, I just can't, you know, stress how important I believe they really are, you know. And the thing about having a mastermind group is that you need to be comfortable with the people within the group. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not comfortable with the people within the group, you won't open up enough. You need to be able to have their trust and the confidence with the people in there, because the things you're going to be sharing are sensitive. But if you've get in a group where that is possible, mm-hmm. the world's open for you, because they've got your back, that you can say stuff, they don't judge you. You know, I just think that, yeah, mastermind groups are, yeah, fantastic. So I'm a convert.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Halstead, for this. I want to ask you also a few quick fire questions, just to sum it up. So, yeah. What does personal development mean to you?
Personal development means that it's a way of getting comfortable with yourself. Mm-hmm. It's about, as I said, you know, being comfortable being able to spend the time on your own without wanting to commit suicide. Being alone with your thoughts. Personal development is that being comfortable with yourself, and that helps you then to be a better person and to be able to contribute better to society.
Awesome. And let's say you had a magic wand and you could change something in the world as it is today. What would you change?
Cool. Wow, that's a question. What would I want to change? I think that obviously I'm in property, and one of the things I think that I was talking, actually funny enough, talking about this with my children, was how in some way I can help the homeless. So one of the things I heard on the radio at Christmas, where there's a guy called Mr. Roundabout. I think he's up in Great Yarmouth, and he sits on this roundabout with all the cars go by. And someone went to take him some food, and they said, "Look, Christmas Day, you can come. There's somewhere where you know, or other homeless people can be to come and have something to eat." He says, "Why would I go and sit there so everybody can just gawp at me?" Because he feels that people are just going to judge him for how he is, and he won't be able to, this is what I took from it, that he won't be able to relax and have his meal. And I was thinking that maybe that a lot of the homeless people, they're out there because they said that there are all these resources for them, but none of them want to take up what's offered to them. Maybe we're not offering it to them in the right way. Could it have been possible that he could have gone and had something to eat, but been in a room on his own? Is there some way that we can help them? We want to put them into a house, but maybe that's not what they want. They don't want to interact with people. How else can we help them? And so if there was, my magic wand would be to try and come up with a solution. There is definitely a solution here of how we can help the homeless. I think that what we're doing, there's some great stuff that's going on, but I think that we can do more. So that's one of the things I'm looking to try and come up with a solution for. But that's my magic wand, I think.
Outstanding. Halstead, is there any big aha moment that you had the last year or so that you wanted to share with us?
Aha moment in the last year. I've been sharing them as I've been going with you, but
okay.
God, what have I? Anything in the last year?
You can go further back if you want. It doesn't have to be the last year.
Sure.
Anything really major that I know you already mentioned a few, like, but
yeah. Well, I think the biggest one was the masterminds. That was such an aha moment. That was, it really did change my thinking, my perception of things like that. So, that's probably the biggest one that I can think of that I've had. Where it's a complete shift of what I thought about things. Would there be anything else? Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but if I do, I will.
That's fine.
I will slip that in there. But the masterminds definitely is a massive aha moment.
Okay, and similar or rather opposite to that, because we talked earlier about mistakes, failures, and how that term doesn't necessarily express that they are lessons. So is there any big mistake or failure that you've had that you wanted to share so that maybe we can avoid doing the same?
Yes, I would say that as you start to achieve and get success, that you need to make sure that you stay as focused as you were to get to that point. So what do I mean by that? you believe that you're invincible because you're having success, and so you don't maybe keep your eye on the ball as much as you should. People say you ask for things to be given to you, and they're not given anything. That'll be all right. Whereas you wouldn't have done that before you had the success. So my biggest thing I would say there is that as you start to have success, still stay focused.
That's great. Fantastic. Great piece of advice. Thank you. Yeah. Halstead, is there anything you were hoping I would ask you today and I completely missed it?
No, I think you've asked me everything.
I've asked you everything I wanted, but from your point of view, if you were burning to share something that was completely left out of this conversation.
I don't think so. I think we've covered quite a lot, to be fair. And no, I don't think so.
Sure, that's fine. And before I ask how can people connect with you, I just wanted a brief comment what your thoughts are about this strange, interesting, unprecedented times that we're in with coronavirus and the lockdown, without asking you anything in particular, but give me your thoughts of what's going on and what you think of it.
Well, it's something that we've not seen before, and really has caught us on the hop. I think that no one was expecting this to happen. When we first start to hear, about the cases in China, I honestly thought, like with things like the bird flu and all the other things that had happened, that they'll be quickly contained. I didn't think it would go as global as it has. So what do I think will happen? I think it's a difficult one because I see both sides of the coin here where we need to make sure that as fewer people are exposed to this as possible, because if you're someone who's in good health and you can deal with getting it, you could be a carrier for someone who's not, for someone who's vulnerable. Yeah, so we do have to make sure that we are sensible with what we do. The hygiene rules, I mean, I've always practiced those anyway. I work, with vulnerable people. So, washing my hands and stuff like that and, trying to stay healthy, and maintaining, the hygiene. I don't get colds that often. And the groups that I work with do get colds all the time, and stuff like that. And I think it's because of the measures that they brought out for coronavirus. I was already doing those. So,
yeah.
But I think that, as I said earlier, that business will change. The way that we do business will change. I think that the way that we interact now will definitely change. I think that it'll be a while before, we have the mass numbers of people going abroad as we had before. I think the relationships that are, being forged in your own community locally, they're standing on your doorstep and clapping, the NHS. You'd probably never seen your next door neighbour. And now you're out there clapping, and then you'll exchange a couple of words with them and whatever, chatting over the garden fence. I think that, community spirit, has really gone through the roof. And I think that that's a massively good thing, because we were getting so dependent on our devices. You could be sitting next to someone and still send them a text, and rather than speak to them. And the VE day was brilliant because we had people here where I live, we'd got all the banners out and things and sat out and had a picnic and whatever, and we could stand from our gardens and and raise a glass or whatever and have a green tea and whatever it was that we did, but it was great. It was really good. And there are things that VE day would have gone by and we wouldn't have done anything like that. So I think that there's going to be, although it's quite serious, there's going to be some good positives to come out of this, I think.
Sure. Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Yeah. There's still a long way to go, and I don't think that we've seen the end of the deaths or whatever, but there are some good things as well, and I think we should try and focus on both.
Yeah, certainly. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's always better to focus on the positives rather than negatives, because if you focus on the negatives, you will find lots of them. But that doesn't necessarily serve you by focusing on everything that is wrong and what could go wrong. Halstead, I want to thank you very much for your time and for sharing your wisdom with me today. I really enjoyed the conversation. I wanted to ask, how can people connect with you?
Either on Facebook, so Halstead Ottley, they can have a look and connect with me there. There's Progressive Property Network Ipswich. I've got a Facebook page, so either of those two pages there. Just come and find me on Facebook, and if you want to hook up for a chat or anything like that, you can message me. So
brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you again for this conversation, Halstead. I really appreciate it. Any parting words?
Thank you very much for inviting me and for keeping me at ease. It's not been as daunting as I thought it was going to be. But my parting words are two things that I would like to leave your audience with is that, action kills fear. Whatever the fear is, just take the action, and you'll see how soon the fear will dissipate. Might not disappear, but it will definitely fade. And my affirmation, which I say to myself, is I believe that I can do anything that I set out to do, and if it's to be, it's up to me.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
I wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Thanks, Aggie.
Thank you very much for listening. Please take a moment to subscribe, rate and review Personal Development Mastery on Apple Podcasts. If you want to know more about me and how I can help you, join my Facebook group Personal Development Mastery. You can either search for it on Facebook or you can simply type bit.ly/PDM group. And until next time, stand out, don't fit in.